Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Midnight Monster Corner podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Tony, and as always, I'm here with my co-host, Corey. How you doing, brother?
What's going on, brother?
It's going, man. I'm really excited about this episode. So, this episode number 15, we are doing a director spotlight on the one and only Dario Argento.
Yep.
This is a really, really cool concept, and I'm looking forward to delving into this wonderful director's filmography and just speaking on bullet points on his career and you know what we think and just basically spotlighting his career as a whole. So I know we were originally supposed to do the Q&A episode on
hmm
15, but me and you talked about it and we're like, let's do Argento. So yeah, man, I'm really excited about delving into it. But first and foremost, man, I know I picked up a couple things this past week. Have you picked up anything in particular or watched anything?
yeah. So I've got a few things that I got in. I got so DVD wise. My wife went actually. She went out and picked these two up. And that's Becky and the Barge People. Um, I did watch both of those. I love Becky. I thought that was a fun film. Um, just can't say enough. Even Kevin James's role, stepping outside of his normal comical role, and just being a sadistic, well, I guess you would say racist or neo-Nazi or whatever. But man, fuck, that was a cool ass movie. And then the Barge People again. Actually, this one I had mixed feelings on.
Hmm.
Um, I there's certain key points that I loved about this film, and there's certain things I didn't love about this film. I thought that they could have done better, could have been executed a little bit better. As far as the lighting, I think that everything was dark. It just seemed like it was a very dark film. Um, at least the shots at night.
Hmm.
It was very dark. The lighting was off. Um, the score of the film was fucking amazing. I loved it. That's one thing I picked up quick on was the score of the film, and I was like, wow, this is really good. I like this. I felt like I was watching a 1980s film
Yeah,
just by listening to the score of this.
I got
Especially
that.
like
I got that same. Oh, sorry, dude. I got that same impression with the opening title credits when they came on. The way the font was used and everything, and like you said, the score it gave me 80s vibes too.
it really did. I thought honestly, I felt like I was watching a Friday the 13th film actually. Just the score and then the quick um, screech of a sound or something as something was about to happen or a jump scare was going to happen.
Yeah.
I love the storyline of it. I don't like how cliche the film was, though. There was
Hmm.
a lot of moments where it was very cliche, and I had already guessed the end of the film. Probably about midway through the film, I realized what was actually going on, but I didn't see the ending. That's cool, and I'm sorry if I give it away, but I mean, damn, she doesn't get away, and that is like harsh. I was like, because well, she was a final girl, and then all of a sudden, no, no, she wasn't. So that's really cool. But yeah, just that film was fun. So if you haven't seen that film, sorry if I ruined it, but damn, it's a cool film. Should give it a chance anyways. Um, like it just said, there's some things I didn't like about it, some things I did. And again, I recommend Becky because Becky was just a fun film. Um, and that one wasn't as predictable. That one was pretty hardcore. I liked
Hmm.
it.
Oh yeah, definitely was. I
Uh,
love the gore in that movie, man.
yes. On to my Blu-rays. Well, beforehand, I did watch another film. It was on Netflix, and this is one that I honestly haven't watched for a few years. I actually found out about it a few years ago, I think from you actually, but it came out in 2017's Death House. Um, but that was just one that I always saw on Netflix, and I was like, I'm gonna watch that one day. And then, because I've been in quarantine for the past couple days, um, because I had to test for COVID, so I've been locked away from the family and stuff, so I've been watching a lot of stuff and in boredom and stuff like that. So, um, but yeah, I watched Death House, and it was a big letdown almost to me, tell you the truth. Because I watched it and I was like, this is cool. It's got all these icons, but they're only in it for like 2 seconds. It was ridiculous. So that's one thing I didn't like. Um, I liked the storyline, but I thought it could have been executed a little bit better. Um, I almost kind of felt like I was watching oh fuck, what's that? Manborg in a sense. Like there was a lot of scenes that just reminded me of Manborg for some reason. I
That's
don't
a
know why.
Harrison.
Honestly, I think my biggest complaint though is you see Tony Todd in the beginning of the film and at the end of the film, and it's like you could have seen more of Tony Todd, in my opinion. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. But like you saw Tony Moran, he was just a split scene. You saw him in there. Kane Hodder was pretty much your main one that you saw. Dee Wallace, Barbara Crampton. Again, you just saw them for you saw them for a couple scenes, but their characters didn't last very long in the film. Um, Bill Moseley, right there at the end, it was like, oh, okay. And then there was like a hologram of Gunnar Hansen, but I guess apparently he was probably going to be a part of this movie, but he passed away right when they were making it, or right before they made it, or something.
Hmm.
Because I noticed at the end of the film, it was like in memory of Gunnar Hansen. So
That's one I
kind of
can't really
sucked.
speak on. I've heard and now with you, I've heard pretty bad things about it, and now based on that, on that review, it doesn't sound like appealing at all. Which you would think
Yeah,
it would be. I mean, with all these icons you have in your movie, you would think this would be like they've said it's the Expendables of horror films, and you know
yeah,
of the horror genre. So you're like, oh man, you're definitely getting like amped up to watch it. But from what I talked to you, and then from all the reviews I've heard, it's not good at all, which is
no, it's
really
not.
it really really hurts, man, because I would love to see something like that be executed brilliantly, and then we can get a little bit more out of it. But unfortunately,
Mhm.
if it's not good and it's not testing well, I mean, you're probably not going to get more of it. So that
Yeah,
might, yeah, that might be a short-lived dream. But yeah, that's a shame, man.
it really is. And like even like Danny Trio, I mean, he's in it for like 2 seconds, and it's like, it sucks. So I honestly think that I think honestly having all those big name horror icons in there was just simply a selling point or something on the film. I
Mhm.
strongly think that. Like it just I had a lot more expectations for it, and it just didn't deliver.
I mean, yeah, but how can you have not high expectations for, especially when you see that cast? I mean, your
Yeah,
expectations are, of course, going to be high. I mean, you're going to expect something great, but I
yeah,
mean, like, from what I've heard, just it didn't pan out that way, which is really, really unfortunate.
yeah.
That sucks, man. It really does, dude. You want to see something like that succeed so they can do it more, you know?
Exactly. All right, so now on to my Blu-ray haul. Um, my wife picked up Shivers from Walmart,
Mm.
and yeah, I popped that in and watched it for the first time, and fucking loved it. That was a fun film. Um, Everything about that film was fun as hell. I love I love storylines based around parasites just because of how realistic it could be,
Mm.
and then on top of it, these parasites strike kind of a sexual nerve in you or something. So next thing you know, people are just fucking around all over the place in this in this apartment complex. So it was pretty insane, really insane. But it was it's definitely David Cronenberg at his finest.
I was gonna say, man,
I
when you talk about Cronenberg, he's gonna throw some weird, fucked up shit at you. He
yeah,
just
and that it definitely delivered on. So, but overall, I loved it. I thought that the storyline was good. There was a couple times where I was kind of going, wait a minute, who the fuck is that character? What are they doing there? But then it kind of panned out. I kind of realized what was going on and
yeah.
stuff. I don't know if it was just me folding clothes at the time, or not, but um, Yeah, I paid more attention to that, the film, obviously. But just overall, I love that film. It was pretty fun. Um, even the the special effects and stuff for 1975, it was pretty cool. And I will say, I don't know if it's still up for grabs or whatever, but I posted the digital download copy on our Facebook group, so it's free for somebody out there to grab it and watch it, um, if it's still available. I don't know if it is or not, so but check it out, guys. It's a good one. And then the last four are from Horror Pack. My Horror Pack did come in. Um, so I'll just kind of go through these real quick. I haven't actually watched any of these, but it's Patient Zero, which I've heard nothing but good things about. Um, the original Annabelle, which I thought was cool, seeing as how Conjuring 3 is coming out. Um,
Yeah,
this
and
is
then
the
she's got her
horror
own.
pack.
Yeah,
Do what?
then she's got her own spin-off films from that universe too.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, like yeah, she's got a couple of I guess they're prequels to that story. I don't know. I haven't seen any of them. I don't know how the I don't know how they all fit into that timeline or whatever. But I know she's got Annabelle Creation and she's got another one. There's a couple of them, man. But
Yeah, I've only watched so far. I've Yeah, I think I did watch Annabelle. I think we caught it on TV one night, and I did watch that. And I liked it. There's kind of a cringing scene, um, where she grabs the doll and she like slams it down on the crib or whatever, like slams the face down on the crib, and then
mhm.
turns out the doll's like laying over in the corner, so she realizes that she picked up her baby and did that. I don't know, or I can't really remember. I was halfway out of it when I was watching it, but I really like the Conjuring films. I did watch those, so I'm kind of waiting on the third one to come out. Um, but the last two is this is the Horror Pack limited edition, and it's Betsy, which I know nothing about. So there's that. And then last but not least, I saved the best for the last. Honestly, this is from Asylum Films. So it's Mega Shark versus Mecha Shark. So
Oh,
another shitty ass shark movie for the Shark Collection.
oh God.
So that's my laundry list. What's yours, man?
Oh, I was only able to pick up three this week. And unfortunately, I haven't seen any this week to speak on. But so my first, I'll start with the DVD. I only picked up one DVD. It's a Canadian flick called Let Her Out. I did see it. I think I checked it out on either, I think it was Shutter. Um, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I found the DVD for a decent price and picked it up and want to watch it again, man, just to get into the. I know, October's coming up and we're going to start doing the. I'm going to attempt to do not maybe the 31 days of horror, but maybe just pick up a couple flicks and watch them, throughout the month and kind of, really, really delve into the Halloween spirit of it. So this is one I definitely wanted to watch for it, and I'm really psyched to give it a rewatch because I remember thoroughly enjoying it. But yeah, that's the one DVD I picked up. I did get two Blu-rays in. Um, Picked them up off of eBay. Um, First one is a Lars von Trier film, which he is a very polarizing filmmaker. His movies can divide audiences, and it's one of those you either love or you hate his work. I love his work, and this movie especially. It's called The House That Jack Built. It stars Matt Dillon, and it's a character study on a serial killer, and it's got a lot of substance in it. It's got a lot of surrealist moments and a lot of metaphors, and it's just a really, really brilliant film. It's a long film. I think I did see the theatrical cut, which it comes with a director's cut, which I want to see. It's only there's only a minute added to it, so I mean, it can't really be much, but I definitely want to check out the director's cut. Definitely want to see the film the way the director intended it to be seen. So, yes, I have that, and another one, which this is really cool, man. I didn't realize this until just now. Um, I watched a movie called The Lodge recently, and I just fell in love with it. I thought it was brilliant. It's got that really doom and gloom atmosphere, that really downbeat kind of end that I love, dude. I love movies like that. And I didn't realize it until now, but it's a co-production with Hammer, so this is technically a Hammer film.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, I just think that's amazing. Because I know Hammer kind of slowed down um, over the past couple years. They didn't, they haven't really made a lot, and now, something like this comes out, and it's just like, wow, this is really interesting. But it's a really, really cool, really, really atmosphere. I can't speak enough on the atmosphere. It's so good in this movie, and it's really, really, it's kind of like it's not really, oh man, it's not really something you want to see. If you're in like, I don't know, I wouldn't say that. I'd say it's a movie you want to check out like in the pitch black of the house, and I mean, you really have to set the mood for this movie, and I think it's masterful. It's well done. I know it. I saw it at Walmart, and I'm like, I should have picked it up. So I wanted to kind of correct that mistake and pick it up. So I looked it up on eBay and found it and grabbed it, because this is another one I kind of want to watch for that that delve into the the run I'm going to try to do for October and gearing up toward Halloween and stuff like that. Watching these really gloomy movies. So yeah, those are the two I picked up. I really don't want to say too much on them because I know they're kind of newer movies. I don't want to spoil anything. So in case anybody wants to check them out, but they're both great. Actually, all three are great. I give them a high recommendation. But like I said, I don't really want to speak too much on them because I don't want to spoil things because these are newer. So
Okay. Right on.
yeah, man.
So sounds good.
Well, I did end up picking up Shivers too from Walmart, and yeah, I can't wait to sit down and watch that.
You've you've never seen it, right?
I haven't. It's one of the Cronenberg. I thought I did, but then I was like, no, I watched Rabid. So yeah, I did not. I haven't seen Shivers yet because
Yeah.
I think the DVD was out of print for a long time, so I never picked that up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it, man.
Hell yeah. And like I said, you've also gotta check out the remake of Rabbit. I've never seen the original Rabbit, but I've seen the remake, which is crazy enough because they did talk about, I think it was the Soska sisters. I watched the behind the scenes and stuff about Rabbit, and I like I said, I didn't even know that there was an original film. I didn't know that this was a remake. It was, and honestly, it was a blind buy that my wife had bought me for Christmas. Um, so realistically, I just didn't know anything about it. And I popped it in one night and I watched it, and I'm really glad I watched it because um, it was really cool. They were talking about how pretty much like not too many people know about the original Rabbit or anything like that because it came out like the same week that Star Wars did essentially. So you can pretty much guess which one flopped
Yeah.
and which one didn't. So that's what kind of sucks. Shit like that
Yeah.
happens all the time though.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Look what happened with the Thing and E.T. I mean, the Thing's
Yeah.
a masterpiece, and it got overshadowed by E.T. and
Yep.
unfortunately didn't make what the studio wanted it to make. So yeah, that's a really, really unfortunate thing. But yeah, it happens, man. It happens. So yeah, that's what I think of anytime someone brings that up. I think of the Thing ET scenario, which
Yep.
is so unfortunate because it's such a masterpiece. But yeah, it happens though. But yeah, man. Like I said, man, I can't wait to start. I'm gonna try this week, maybe popping in some movies, watching them, gearing up for the season. The wonderful month of October. All the
Yeah.
spooky shit happens, and what better way to do that than starting to watch some really gloomy, just depressing and dour horror films.
Yep.
Some dark cinematography and some really, really moody shit. It's
That's the way to do it.
the best way to kick off October, right?
Yep.
So I'm looking forward to it, man. But yeah, So we we are doing the Dario Argento spotlight. Um,
Yes. So as you know, we did George Romero last week. I'm
right.
getting that out tonight, hopefully. So I'm excited about that.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. That was a fun episode too.
That was a good one.
This one's just gonna be as fun because this is a filmmaker that me and you both absolutely love, and
Yes.
we we cite his movies a lot when we're talking about newer films that come up, and a lot of people try to emulate his. I mean, I know he had a Suspiria remake come out recently, and uh,
Mm-hmm.
which is cool. I don't. It's funny that more of his films aren't remade or aren't slated to be remade, because
Not too many people dare to.
yeah, people kind of they kind of take a step back when it comes to remaking, especially Italian stuff. Italian stuff isn't really remade a lot, so it's fascinating that the Suspiria remake was a thing, and
Mm.
yeah. But I know, his influence is felt on the film world. A lot of people cite Argento as a inspiration to, what they do and what they're able to do with cinematography and lighting, because he's such a master at that. I mean, his films are all absolutely beautiful, and like I said, he gets a lot of slack for not a lot of story, but I think he has just enough story in his movies. He doesn't need to, oversaturate it. I mean,
No.
I can, yeah. I mean, they're easy to follow. I mean, it's that style over substance debate. But for me, I mean, I love Argento, so I'll take the story that he get. I mean, it's fine. It's suitable for the film, and you get lost in the visuals, and you have a good time watching his movies. Um,
Yeah.
um, I know he started off his career, um, basically not doing horror. He was doing a lot of westerns and stuff, which is pretty cool. He started off with you know, I think he started off with Sergio Leone, and did some stuff like that, and he kind of was working his way up to becoming a film director, and it's interesting to see how, um, with what occurred and the film that he got his directorial debut with, that would spawn. Not to say that he spawned it because it had been done before with Pava, but it just kickstarted the whole giallo boom of the you know early '70s. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
say that his Bird with Crystal Plumage, which was his directorial debut, was the kind of like the catalyst in the same way that maybe Friday the 13th was with the slasher boom of the early '80s. I mean, it kickstarted a whole you know craze, and a lot of, I mean, especially Italian directors, they emulated that, and they wanted to pump out a giallo because that's what the people wanted to see. So
Yeah.
it's interesting. It's interesting that it started off with Bird with Crystal Plumage, and that kind of kickstarted the whole thing. Um,
Yeah. And yeah, like to your point, just pretty much anyone and everyone started making giallos instantly. I mean, to this day, I've got a laundry list of giallos I'm in search for, and just hard to find shit, you know.
it
And
really
it's just
is.
honestly like one hit wonders and no names that made these movies.
It really is. When you delve into the world of giallo, you can find so many fantastic movies, man. And I credit we credit a lot our to Argento with kind of getting that starting the template. Um,
Hmm.
Bava did it, I think, first, of course, but
Yes.
Argento did it with his own style, which was, yeah, similar to Bava's style, um, where
I
you,
was
you
about, I was about to say he was pretty much a protege of Bava's, wasn't he?
pretty much, yeah, pretty much, man.
Uh,
Because Bava himself started off as a cinematographer, so he knew how to light shots, and he knew how to frame the lighting and stuff like that to where he got the most out of it, and it shows with his filmography, and even Argento too. His attention to detail is just amazing,
mhm.
and it's truly truly brilliant what he's able to shoot in his films. I mean, it's masterful.
It
But
is.
I think Argento's best known for his two trilogy, um, his Animal trilogy, which consisted of his directorial debut, which is The Bird with Crystal Plumage,
Hmm.
carried over with The Cat o' Nine Tails, and then Four Flies on Gray Velvet.
Hmm.
And then what most people know him for is the Three Mothers trilogy, which consists of Suspiria, and then goes into Inferno, and then finishes off way, way down the line with Mother of Tears. So it's really, really, fascinating that he was able to do three trilogies like that. Especially early on in his career. Um, well, I
Which I
mean, Mother of Tears came out much later, but still.
yeah, which I kind of wanted to hit that with you real quick. So so we've got a remake of Suspiria. Do you think that somebody's trying to recreate the Mother's trilogy?
I'm not sure, man, because I think Suspiria in and of itself is just the one
Pinnacle.
that stands out. Yeah, the one that
Hmm.
stands out in the majority of. I mean, not a lot of people talk about Inferno, which is a shame because Inferno is really that's another
Well,
story. It's
you know my
super.
take on that.
Yeah, it's super underrated.
Yeah.
Um, Mother of Tears just came out way too late. I wish they would have continued it maybe into the early '80s with Mother of Tears. That would have been fantastic. I really
Well,
think
here's
it
my
would have
thought
been a lot
process on Mother of Tears. Honestly, okay, so in that whole trilogy, I've watched that trilogy several times, and pretty much on Mother's Day, I sit down and I watch all three of those films just because it's the Mother's trilogy. Um, and honestly, you know my take. Suspiria is a highly loved film in the
better.
trilogy. I think it's honestly just because it's the first film. But for some reason, Inferno is my all-time favorite out of the whole trilogy. And I might get
Yeah,
some hatred for making that comment, but I can't help but to make that comment because I mean that's what we do here, right? We
that's
voice
art,
our
man. Yeah,
opinions.
absolutely.
Um, but I don't know. I don't, and it could just be the fact that the usage of blue throughout that whole film pops to me because it really does. Blue
Mhm.
is one of my favorite colors being used in a film. I don't know what it is about it. Um, and even like if you watch the Blind Dead films, if you notice when he's shooting the nighttime scenes, it's not actually at night. He's just shooting everything in blue,
Mhm.
and it works. You get that feel that it's dark and gloomy and depressing.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
so the Three Millers trilogy, Inferno has to be my all-time favorite. Um, and then in my all-time opinion, yeah, I guess you would say my opinion, Mother of Tears was just really it was really rushed. I feel out of
Yeah.
all the Dario Argento films, out of all his filmography that I've watched, I feel that was the most rushed film that he has ever done put out.
Mhm.
I feel it was sloppy. It wasn't well pieced together. Um, and it honestly, just to me, it doesn't fit the storyline of the Mother's trilogy.
Yeah, and I think about it, maybe it wasn't all his vision. Maybe a Lust Studio had a lot to do with it, or because like I said, it did come out in that time. It came out in a time where remakes were just dominant, and you saw those so much, and then you know to have this idea to come out at that time was just, I think it was just bad timing. I really do. I think
Yeah.
if it had been made even in the later '80s, I think it would have been so much more prevalent. But the fact that it
Well,
was made in the early 2000s was like, the bad
yeah.
timing.
And it was so late in his career, he was getting up there in age and stuff like that, and even like right now, I think he's got on IMDb right now that he's going to be working on two more films here. Um, but I think that it's just so late in his career that I'm afraid of the worst,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
the way
I don't want to think about it in those terms because maybe he could knock one out of the park even at his advanced age now. But I think it has a lot to do with creative control and whether he has a lot of control over his own films or the studio is kind of taking letting him take a back seat. I kind of think in that regard, if Argento has complete and full control, he's going
Mhm.
to make something masterful, or it's going to be a lot better than if the studio has anything to do with it. If they just, you know, if they have every little say in what he's doing, I don't think that's a good marriage of a situation. So
Yeah,
hopefully with these two coming out, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but with the two that he's got coming out, or say that are coming out, I hope he has more control.
yeah,
I really do.
yeah.
But I'm with you though, man. Inferno's great. Inferno's fantastic. I really believe it's one of the most. I'd have to say the most underrated film in his whole filmography.
Yeah.
It's a movie that should get more love than it does.
Well, there's another one that I can think of that doesn't get enough love. That's Opera. I
Opera,
think Opera is a very underrated film too.
absolutely. Some would argue our opera would be Argento's last true masterpiece, like his last fantastic film.
Yeah.
I know people normally say, hey, after opera he kind of took a little downslide, and there's some good movies in it, like of course um Trauma and Stendhal Syndrome, and I mean some good he's got some good ones at pre or post opera. So
Hmm.
I wouldn't say that opera's his last fantastic film. I mean, it might
There's
be. I mean, I,
there's
I, I
even
don't.
there's even Dracula 3D. That was a really great film.
Uh, I don't know, buddy.
I'm
I
I'm
don't know
I'm
for that
joking. I'm joking.
one. I was gonna say I can't agree with you at all on that one.
I just remember picking that up and I remember picking that up going, hey, it's an Argento film. I don't have this, and it's like $2. And you're like,
Right. Yeah.
buddy, there's a reason why it's $2. Just put that
Dude.
thing down. It's terrible.
Yeah, that's probably Argento's worst film, and I hate to narc on it and say that but it's such a. I watched it and I was
We
like, I
can't
can't
we can't
believe.
all have like really immaculate films though. I mean,
Oh,
you're
right.
gonna have a downfall at some point.
You can't hit a home run every time you come up to plate, but that one was a unfortunate viewing experience for me. It just broke my heart in a way. Like, this is the same man that directed Deep Red and Suspiria, and now it's come to this, and it's really really sad, and it breaks your heart as a fan. But I mean, so when you take his two his two trilogies, of course, I think most people will say Three Mothers is probably the best out of the two. Even though Bird with Crystal Plumage is such a fantastic film, not a lot of people talk about Four Flies on Grey Velvet, or Cat o' Nine Tails for that matter. So when it comes to, if you would compare and contrast the two trilogies that Argento constructed, I would say that Three Mothers gets, just on Suspiria alone, it's for many his signature film, the one he's most known for. Um, when people think of Argento, I mean, most of the time they think of, there's a reason Suspiria was remade. Like, that's the one that gets the most love. So,
Okay.
yeah, like I said, Suspiria is the one that gets the most recognition out of genre fans, and for good reason. I mean, Suspiria is, let's face it, man. It's a masterpiece. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's fantastical. It's all of the above. It's a movie that, yeah, man, I think out of even mainstream audiences, people know Suspiria, which is kind of really, really weird in a way that such a out there movie would be known in the mainstream audiences, but I think it is. I mean, I know a lot of people that aren't even really horror fans that have heard of Suspiria or have seen it even before the remake came out. So it's pretty interesting to see that, I mean, the way
Well,
it's shot, I mean, it's fantastically shot, though, dude. No one can ever take that away from it.
no, no, just that opening scene with the windstorm and everything. God, that's
Oh,
just so fucking amazing. I mean, that's
incredible.
I mean it. If you want a good example of what a Dario Argento film is, just YouTube that shit and watch that scene because I mean, there you go. You'll be hooked after that. I mean, Argento, he's a master at what he does. Let's face it, he's an artist. Um, and in my opinion, it's one of his best artworks. I just Inferno appeals to me a little bit better, but there's other films in his filmography that actually appealed to me more. Just out of that Mother's trilogy, that seems to be the one that um, hits me a little bit more. I think honestly, the scene in Inferno that gets to me a little bit is the scene where she goes down into the water.
Oh,
Just everything about that scene. It honestly that whole scene right there is what I think makes that film my favorite throughout the whole trilogy. Just
it
where
truly
she's
is, man. It's one of the
yeah,
most fantastic sequences ever filmed. It absolutely is, man. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous, man.
yeah,
Like I said, I when I think of certain sequences in horror, like that one sticks out to me big time. It's so masterfully done.
yeah.
So I'm right there with you, man. Absolutely, that 100%. I was hoping that that's what you were gonna say too when you were, talking about. I was like, oh, I hope he talks about the underwater scene because it's
Yeah.
fantastic.
And that's I think that's what hits it for me. Um, yeah, just everything about that whole film. But that's always the scene that gets to me. I can always think about that movie, and instantly I think about the underwater scene.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh, absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. Definitely the highlight of the film. But I love the color palette in that film too. It's just it. A lot of people compare it to Suspiria, which I understand. I mean, it's in the same trilogy, but
yeah,
I think it's fantastic, man. It's really. I mean, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here, but it's really fantastically done. I mean, not a lot of people give it the credit it deserves. I mean, he was still on it, and I know Argento filmed. He was not feeling 100% too. He was a little under the weather when he was shooting Inferno, so he wasn't even fully, healthy when he was shooting that movie, which
yeah.
is, yeah. I know he talks in his you know, when he talks about his, the films that he not the he regretted making, but the movies that he didn't enjoy the experience. The Inferno always gets brought up because, like I said, he was under the weather, and
Hmm.
he was feeling very well, and he just, I guess, it didn't get the recognition, and he kind of was a little bit deterred by that, maybe, and which it should have. Like I said, it's completely underrated. Wish it got more love. But even then, still, I mean, if I had to choose one, it'd be, of course, Asperia. I just have a deep, deep connection to that movie. It's the first Argento film I ever watched. So for me, it's always going to hold that special place in my heart. But I think about that scene, and I think about the sequence when the girl was in the beginning of the film, when the girl is stabbed and her open chest is exposed and you can see her heart beating, and then you know, there's the shot of the knife going into her heart, and then, you know, yeah, that whole sequence is just that's what I think of whenever I think of Suspiria. Yeah, that kill and then her crashing through the window, and that whole sequence is just masterfully done.
Yeah,
Absolutely fantastic. And I always think of that. Always think of that when I think of that movie.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I agree with you. That opening scene or that scene with the knife going into the heart like that is really cool.
Fucking brutal, man. It
Yeah.
really is. And for the time when it came out, oh dude, it's crazy, man.
Hmm.
But I mean, even in the Animal trilogy, I'd say Bird with Crystal Plumage is my favorite. That's a masterfully done movie too. I mean, it's his debut, and it's just he knocks it out of the park. So he's going to go on to a fantastic career just
Yeah.
based on alone. I mean, a lot of people are one hit wonders. They make a movie, or they or directors are one hit wonders. They direct a film and they can never quite live up to it. And then
Hmm.
even still, Argento just pumps out a masterpiece after another, and it's just like, wow, you can tell he was just destined to be, a master of horror. A lot of people call him the Italian um, Alfred Hitchcock, which is really, really high praise.
Yeah, it
Um,
is.
so I mean, that just goes to show you. But I
You know
mean,
what?
what do you think about what is your opinion on Deep Red, man? What do you think about Deep Red?
Deep Red.
Because
Deep
you know we
Red.
had
Honestly, I think Deep Red is actually the first Argento film I watched.
okay,
Actually, it was either. Deep Red or Tenebrae, but I'm leaning towards Deep Red. I think you opened my eyes to Argento. I didn't know anything about. Realistically, it's kind of funny because I kind of opened your eyes a little bit to horror, and it kind of jump started you into collecting, which jump started me into collecting. But then, but
So yeah,
then you introduced me to this new thing called Giallo, and this god amongst directors from Italy, Argento. And I think Deep Red was the first one. Yeah, it has to be Deep Red because I remember you telling me about the fucking doll, and that's the one that got to me. So,
yeah, yeah. I saw that sequence when I was matter of fact, I saw that sequence before I even watched the whole movie, so I can't even say that that's the first Argento film I ever watched because it was only the sequence. But if going off of sequence was the first, then Deep Red would be the first thing I've ever saw because that was I remember that. Um, I can't even remember where I saw that, but I remember seeing that scene in particular, and it just floored me, even at a young age. It just kind of because he subverts your expectations. The way his camera work's done, you expect this to happen, but then he kind of flips it on his head and shows you something else, and you don't expect it. I
hmm
mean, the way we have, the way we see horror, as a Western audience is kind of different, and then, he shows us, stuff we least expect, and then it just kind of throws us through a loop, and it's like, wow, I didn't see that coming, and I knew that even at a young age, I did not see that coming at all. So,
yeah,
like I said, man, Deep Red holds a big place in my heart as being one of the first true giallo films I ever saw. Um,
hmm
then I think of when you think of pinnacle giallo films, what really defines that genre, you can't help but think of Deep Red as being one of the best, most perfect examples of that. It's just everything you would want in a giallo. You have the black glove killer, you have the foreigner who comes, who becomes involved in the plot and involved in what's going on because he's just at the wrong place at the right place at the wrong time, so to speak.
hmm
So you have those tropes in there, and it's perfected in Deep Red, and I think it's another one that another feather in the cap of Argento's career. A lot of people love that, and most people that's their favorite Argento film. Um, Along with Suspiria. When people think of Argento, they think of Suspiria and Deep Red. They think of the pinnacle, and for a lot of people, that's their favorite. Um, so I mean, it's like I said, it's another fantastic, and that Goblin score. You can't talk about Argento without talking about Goblin.
No, you
The
can't.
score, yeah, the scores in his movies are so amazingly done.
Yeah,
I watch Deep Red, and every time Goblin score comes on, I get goosebumps, and I just, oh man, it does something for me, man. That music is fantastic, and it
it
really
is.
just, yeah, it gets you so sucked into the atmosphere of the movie. It complements it perfectly.
Oh man, that's another thing you just brought up. And something about Italian films and just the atmosphere. That's one thing that turns us on about horror in itself is it has to have a good atmosphere, right? So these
Quick,
Italian films, they really set a tone, very atmospheric. And Deep Red is a fine example of that, like you said. It is a really fine example. Um,
mhm. If you had to pick, this is the tough one, man. If you had to pick one Argento film that's your favorite, that's your absolute favorite, and I know it's a tough one for me. For me, it's brutal. It's so tough. But if you had to pick one, which one would it be?
um, yeah. So out of everything I've seen, because I haven't seen his whole filmography yet, and
Out of
I
everyone,
yeah. So I don't know if you checked it out, but do you realize that he's only got like 28 films under his belt?
it's
And
amazing.
I mean, here I'm sitting here thinking this guy's got like 60 or something films under his belt. Just it feels that way.
It really
Um,
does.
but out of all the films that I've seen from him and everything, now is this written or not? Just directed?
Directed.
Okay, so just directed. Um, I would honestly have to say Tenebrae.
Mm.
Tenebrae, I know it's kind of cliche saying that because Tenebrae, but in my opinion, it's one of his, outside of the Three Mothers trilogy, his best works of art.
It's
Um,
masterful, dude. It really is.
just
Can't argue.
something about it, And we even did a spotlight on review on this film. What was it, like episode 4, I think, or
Very
either
early on.
episode 3 or 4? Yeah. Um, but just hands down, just one of my all-time favorites. There's okay, so it sets the tone. You got atmosphere. You've got a great storyline. You love trying to figure out who the killer is in this film. And there's a storyline about why that killer's killing. And then on top of it, you got use of color. And then of course you just got the grand master of them all sitting behind the camera, making all the shots, and just everything about it's just perfect. It's a perfect Argento film. Anyone that comes over and wants to sit down and actually watch an Italian film, that's the one I pull out for them because that's the first one that they need to watch, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. To really gauge their interest on it, and if they can handle this genre in particular, the Italian horror genre. That I agree with you, man. Honestly, that's like I said. If someone were to come over and say, "Hey, what's up with Italian horror? What's one thing you can show me?" If I'm not pulling a Fulci film, then I'm probably gonna pull.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I'm being perfectly honest with you, um, I've always gone back and forth with Suspiria and Deep Red for me as two absolute works of art and masterpieces. But I'm with you, dude. Tenebrae is my favorite personally. I
Okay.
absolutely I absolutely love that movie. It resonates with me so much. Argento's headspace where he was at that time, he I don't know, man. He just knocked that out completely out of the park, and especially after a follow up. That he directed that right after Inferno. So I mean, I from Deep Red to Suspiria to Inferno to Tenebrae, like who can touch that? That's insane.
Yeah.
That's just one after another, and it's brilliant. And then even to follow that up with Phenomena, I mean,
Yeah,
you
no, I do love Phenomena. The storyline
right,
behind Phenomena is fun.
and
I will say that. But
you want to talk about atmosphere, the opening of Phenomena. Oh man,
oh yeah,
you want to talk about atmosphere, dude? You can't get better than that.
no, you really can't.
That was, oh, I
Everything
still
about that.
I still think about that and I get goosebumps, man. Oh man, it really just it does a number on me. But I'm with you, dude. Personally, if I'm choosing one, it's Tenebrae. I love that movie. Absolutely adore it. Suspiria is right there with it. It's right there with it, but I'm going Tenebrae because, like
Hmm.
you said, I think about it in the terms of, hey, if I'm gonna pop in a Argento movie to watch, I mean, most of the time it's gonna be Tenebrae. I've seen that
Yeah.
movie hundred times probably. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, not. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit, of course, but
Mm.
um, yeah, it's with that and Suspiria. I know those two are my, I mean, Suspiria just because it's the first one I've seen of him, I've seen of his, and then it resonates with that, and then just everything about it. It's tough. Some days I'd say, Suspiria's up there. You just have to catch me on the right day.
Hmm.
But Tenebrae I absolutely adore too. So I can't say enough, you know,
Yeah.
complimentary things about that movie as well.
Hmm.
But I need
One of my
go ahead,
go
bud.
ahead. Well,
No,
one of my favorite ultimate scenes is that scene at the, what do you call that, the house or whatever that the two lesbian chicks live in or whatever.
oh my
That
god.
Yeah, that whole sequence where he's panning from ground level all the way up to like what, the third or fourth floor. And like I've told you in the past, I think we've both had speculation that he accidentally left the camera on. Um, but that, just the sheer brilliance behind that is awesome. I mean, he's catching just the side of the house and just the ceiling and everything, or the roof and everything, and then he finally gets to the window, and that's when shit goes down. And it's like, that's
It's
really
brilliant.
cool. That's really cool that he did that.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. One of the things that I love about Argento is the fact that we all know the story of if you definitely know Argento films, he's obviously the killer in all his films, pretty much. He's the one that does all the death scenes behind the black gloves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. He's wearing the black gloves. Yeah.
So that's I love that. I love that he feels that no one else can create what he's envisioning.
So he's gonna
Um, do what?
so he's gonna do it himself. Essentially, he's like,
Yeah,
do it the way I want it, so I'm gonna do it.
yeah,
And
yeah.
some would say that's egotistical, but no, I just don't. I think it's him just wanting it done right, and him just not wanting to waste the shots. He wants to get it in one take, and he wants it done well. So I don't see it. Some probably could see it as egotistical. I don't. I think it's just him
And
wanting to do it.
well,
To,
in my opinion, he's very what's the word I'm looking for? Uh, jeez, he's a perfectionist in my opinion.
oh,
Um,
hands down, absolutely.
I, yeah, I think everything to him is exactly the way it comes off. It's a work of art, and like you said, if no one can get it done the way I can see it, I'm going to get it done myself, and I actually praise him for it. That's it's got to be challenging to direct, because at that moment he's probably not behind the cameras. He's probably directing somebody behind him to film what he's trying to capture in his mind. That's pretty hard.
Yeah,
That's got to be really hard, actually.
yeah. And I don't want to be remiss without bringing up Dario Nicolodi. I know she was in quite a long relationship with Argento, and she did help with his screenwriting and a lot of his classic films that he was most known for. I want to bring her up too, man, because she doesn't get enough love and enough credit, and she definitely deserves it because what she was able to do. It's kind of like the Deborah Hill situation with John Carpenter. I mean, she was kind of in the shadows, not getting as much credit, but she deserves credit, for crafting, the story and especially with Suspiria. I know she was heavily involved in that and didn't get a lot of credit for it. So I just love to give her love too. And she acted in a lot of his films as well. Um, so I mean, it's most notably in Deep Red and also Tenebrae. I mean, she's been in a lot of his films as well. So
Yeah.
um, and of course she's Asia Argento's mom. So
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, it's you can't you'd almost be remiss if you didn't bring her up and just give her kudos and credit for what she was able to do. Um, but I mean, yeah, if I'm I know he also little known fact. Well, I wouldn't say a little known fact, but he also helped get Dawn of the Dead off the ground and helped get that made for Romero because he was having some funding issues and Argento was able to help fund it. So, like I said, we wouldn't, possibly Dawn of the Dead wouldn't have been what it is if it wasn't for Argento as well. So, and even Demons is another, which is funny because you talk about Demons and some people think that Argento directed Demons, like because he was
Yeah.
so involved, and a lot of people don't realize that he didn't. So, it's one of those things where I always think about it like Spielberg, Toby Hooper thing with Poltergeist, like who's the real director. But I mean, obviously it's
Mhm.
uh Lamberto Bava, but a lot of people they see Dario's name on there and they think, oh, Dario directed it. It's part of his filmography as well. So just imagine
Yeah.
if he directed. Holy shit!
Yeah, it would be a lot different.
Oh
It'd be
man,
demons with black gloves.
oh man, no, Demons would be like people would be talking about Demons as one of his, one of his I don't know, dude. It's Demons is fan. I mean, that's another story for maybe we should do a review on Demons, but um, that's
I'm
another.
game.
Yeah, that's another movie I absolutely fucking adore. It's got everything you would want in a horror film. It's got a killer soundtrack, good gore. It's got everything. So,
An
but
annoying ass black demon. I couldn't stand that. That's the only thing that I disliked about that entire film was that
oh,
fucking
dude.
demon. That aggravated the shit out of me. I don't know what it was, but yeah, it's just something about her I just did not like
Good.
throughout the
So
whole
good.
film.
So good.
But like you said, I actually love demons, so it was well written. But I wouldn't mind seeing that, through the eyes of Argento himself. But
Just imagine what it could have been. I mean, it's kind of fascinating stuff, really, to think about. Just the fact that he had his hand in that as well. I mean, he's just, and of course, the two evil eyes with Romero.
George Romero, yeah,
Yeah, I know they wanted to work together, and that was their opportunity to do something together, and which is really really cool, man. You think about those two on on a film set. Oh man, that would have been so amazing. Just
yeah.
to just to kind of get a glimpse into that. But um, it's and then after after that, we go into a time in Argento's career where his movies are less. I wouldn't say less known or kind of like his more underrated stuff, but when you talk about movies like Trauma and of course Stendhal Syndrome, um, those two in particular, they have a huge fan base. I mean, people love them, and I'll throw Sleepless in there too, um, even though that was made a little bit later. That's another one that's very very underrated, very very good. Um, I know he directed Phantom of the Opera in between those, and that's one I haven't seen from him, but I've heard really really bad things about it.
Yeah.
So
I think I've actually watched that movie, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure I've watched it.
yeah, I think that's one of the few Argento films I don't have.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, actually, I don't have it either. I don't know where I've seen it, but I'm nine times. I'm pretty sure I've seen it. I'm pretty sure.
yeah.
I can't definitively say whether or not, but it's ringing a bell. Maybe it's just because opera, and I have opera and I love that film. Maybe that's it, but I'm pretty sure I've seen it though.
Yeah, it's just that's one I don't think I've seen. If I have, I just can't remember it at all. Like I said, if it was an Argento film, I would have remembered, but I
Yeah.
don't, and I don't have it, a physical copy of it, so I highly doubt I've seen it. Which is like I said, one I haven't. There's not a lot that I haven't seen, so um, I think I would say that, and I haven't seen Giallo. It's another
Okay.
one that he's done.
With
But other,
Adrian Brody.
yeah, other than those two, I've seen every one of his films except for, of course, the ones that are, you know, technically on his IMDb but aren't shot yet. Which that's another thing I think we should end up talking about is the Sandman. That whole
Yeah.
fiasco where they had a kind of like a GoFundMe for that, and people would
I mean,
donate.
it's still on IMDb as if it's going to be produced.
Right. But no,
It just doesn't have a date.
yeah, it's
So,
weird.
but the other one I can't pronounce it, and I can't think of it off the top of my head. But I think it's in Italian. It does have a date for 2021. So
I think it's
I'm
called the
pretty.
Black.
What is it?
I think it's called the Black Gloves. I think the Italian title is on its IMDb, but I think it's known as the Black Gloves, or from what I've heard.
Okay.
But the
Okay.
Sandman, I mean, I really want this to happen because I mean, you got Iggy Pop playing the Sandman. That's fucking awesome, dude.
That's cool.
I mean, that's fucking
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. I remember reading about that. Yeah. I just
I
didn't
mean,
know
I
it
don't
had a
know what's
title. Okay.
yeah, I don't know what's going on with it. I know people have donated to it and they never got anything like any updates on it or anything. So I don't know who was in charge of that, but they royally fucked that up. I mean, for
Which,
people to not even get like notices on where their money's going or what's going on with the project is kind of shitty. And I don't
yeah.
blame Arturo. I don't think it was his fault. I really believe that if it was his own crowdfunded thing, he would let people know what's going on, but I don't know what happened. I can't speak enough because I don't have enough information on it, but I think it's a real shitty situation. You know,
Mhm.
it's always shitty when people take advantage of the fans and you know when they want to donate to something because they want to see something made, people pocket that money and they just take off and nothing's ever done about it. I mean, that's why a lot of crowdfunded stuff kind of went. It was big for a while, and then all of a sudden, boom, you just don't see it happening anymore. And I think that's a lot of the reason why. It's 'cause people were so tired of
Well,
getting ripped off.
yeah, a lot of people got tired of funding this stuff and it not happening. I mean, we saw that with with a Ryan Mickelson film and stuff like that, right? That just didn't happen.
It's happened quite a few times, and then the honest guys don't get the funding, which breaks my heart for them because of course,
Yeah,
a couple of people kind of soured it for everybody. So the people that
yeah,
really deserve it and stuff like that don't get the opportunities, which is really fucking a shame, man. But
yeah.
yeah, I don't like I said, I don't know enough about it. I know I because when it was first, when they first started talking about this, I was like, fuck yeah, this sounds like a really good idea. Sounds like a good project. This seems like Argento returning to form, something
Hmm.
that he does well, and I'm like, I'm all for it. I'm down. Um, but like I said, nothing's been said about it, and I'm just kind of wondering where this movie is. It's in limbo right now. I
Yeah,
don't even know how much of it's shot. I mean, who knows, dude? I can't find any information on it.
yeah.
Fucking
Maybe we
sucks, man.
can do some digging or something. Maybe we can come up with something.
I've done a little digging, but I just haven't been able to figure out anything.
Yeah,
Yeah, fucking sucks, man. But I don't know, man. Argento's filmography is it's masterful. I mean, you can talk about we can do special spotlights on each one of these films. I mean, it's just so much substance in these movies and so much to get out of. You could just do a show on each one. I mean,
yeah,
you really can. So it's so tough to talk about all of them you know in a bunch like this. But like I said, with the film, with the spotlight, you have to touch up on them and you have to talk about them and you have to say which ones you enjoy the most and which ones you'd put on that upper shelf and which ones are kind of mid tier and then the lower ones. And
yeah,
as hard as it is to do, man, I mean you there's certain ones you gravitate to, of course, because it's like nostalgia for you and first time seeing them, and sometimes those play a bigger factor and sometimes they don't. I mean, you just go off of it critically and say, hey, this is critically um or just heads or tails the best movie. But like I said, I don't look at him like that. I just look at him all as like his body of work and how masterful it is. And I mean, it never fails, man. If I ever want to throw in something comfortably, I'll pop in an Argento film and just enjoy the experience every time.
yeah. Definitely.
Never get bored. Never get just. And I've seen him so much. It's like what's happening, but you just get drawn into it. It's almost like a trance watching his movies, man.
Hmm.
Or
Yeah.
the score, the visuals, and stuff like that. You just get locked in.
Yeah. Well,
Sound is
that's one thing you brought up. You brought up Goblin earlier. There's been times where like I'll be at work and I just get in a mood where I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna pop in, or I'll play like Goblin music all day. I
Oh
just
yeah,
sit there and listen to the whole score of Suspiria or something. You know.
I can't say I haven't done that. I have quite a few times. You
No,
know,
it's fun.
it it really
Because
is, man.
and again, it's an art form as well. There's everything, and it's not just Argento. It's just the spotlight on Argento is so heavy and predominant because it's Argento. I mean, he's one of the A-listers when you think of Italian horror. But ultimately, a lot of Italian horror, in my opinion, is just hands down so fucking amazing. Um, it's just all an art form to me.
Yeah, Some
You
of
know?
my favorite. If I'm talking about foreign horror, then Italian horror is hands down my favorite.
Oh,
Um,
definitely.
no question, no question. They do it. They do it better than anybody, in my opinion.
Mhm.
So when I have such a love and admiration for Italian horror films in general, it's like I said, they're some of my favorite of all time. I can pop them in at any time and watch them. And Argento's. We talk about the three big ones. You think of Bava, Argento, and Fulci.
Mhm.
Those three guys, I could pop in their movies and watch them anytime. I love their filmographies.
Yeah.
You really can't do wrong. So,
No, you can't.
so when I
No.
think about, of course, you think about Italian horror, you think about the three. I mean,
Yeah. The three,
you
and
can't.
then obviously there's honorable mentions. You got
Oh,
Umberto Lenzi,
oh
Sergio
yeah,
Martino, you
Martino,
know.
absolutely,
Yeah.
dude,
And even Lombardo, when he's making a movie.
absolutely, absolutely. Which sucks because I know me and you have always talked about, man, how cool would it be to meet Argento at a convention, and
Dude,
how
that would be
amazing,
awesome.
yeah, just to tell him how much his movies and his filmography mean to you and as a horror fan and stuff like that. And I know he did Texas Frightmare. I was so damn tempted to just fly out there and meet just him. I'm not even joking, dude. I would just love that opportunity. But hopefully, of course, when everything goes away, the circuit opens back up. Hopefully, I'm just hoping that he'll do like an East Coast one. And
Well, the beauty of that is Days of the Dead is moving more up north towards us, So because you got Days of the Dead now, not just only in Atlanta, but it's also in Charlotte as well.
yeah,
You know, so who knows? Maybe we'll be able to. Maybe they will get Argento, and because Days of the Dead seems to be a pretty bigger convention than what we're normally going to.
yeah, it
So
definitely is. It's got more locations than even Mad Monster. I know Mad Monster's got a couple, but Days of the Dead's got more, and no doubt. And like I said, it's probably the bigger convention, no doubt.
yeah,
Um, but for them to book a guest like that would be massive. I think they would have a flood on their hands if they were to, because I know Texas Frightmare when they had him, and like I said, he didn't do a lot of conventions that I know of. So when he was announced for Days of the Dead, people went fucking crazy. And I know a lot of people flooded his line.
yeah. I
So
mean, well, we even talked about should we go?
yeah, like I said, dude, I was damn tempted to go out there and meet him. Like
I
no,
I would have been happy just going there just to meet him and come home.
honestly, dude. And there was a pretty good guest list that year, but that was the he was the one. Like I wanted to meet him. I so
Yeah,
wanted to meet him. I mean, but like I said, maybe we'll get that opportunity one day. Who knows, man?
I'm hoping. You know what? Or we just need to take our happy asses to Italy and just go meet his ass. He's always in the
Right.
shop. So
Dude, yeah, he has his own shop in I think Rome, which is really
yeah,
fucking cool. I would love to go there because even he has props from his films in there, which I would just fucking love to go see, man.
yeah. I wouldn't mind walking through there. And I I I think one of his kids runs the place or something. If I'm not mistaken, I've heard rumors of that, or I don't know how true that is, but I've heard rumors of one of his children actually working there, running the place or something.
Would have to be yeah, it'd have to be someone very close to him. I
Yeah.
believe that. Yeah. So man, I'm telling you, that would be a dream. I've always wanted to go to Italy. That's always been a dream of mine. So for, for me and
Everyone
you,
everyone would go to like go see the Vatican and everything. We would go to see like the villas that were used in all the films.
yeah, no, we're not gonna go see the Leaning Tower of Pisa or anything like that. We're just gonna go to Rome to see like a little horror shop.
Yeah.
We're
Or
not gonna
like
go or anything.
like this is the fucking house in Tenebrae. And knock at the front door. Can we just come in?
Yeah, that's the kind of thing you want to see.
Yeah. I mean that's why I would go. I mean,
Yeah, no doubt, dude. No doubt. I mean, you're talking about Rome. I would love if I could go to Rome. You kidding me?
yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Be a fucking dream, dude.
Yeah.
That's my dream. Like I said, if I ever was to go visit any country, I want to go to Italy. That's the one I want to go to. I love everything Italian, so that's where I gravitate to.
Definitely.
Dude, I would love that. Oh, man. Fingers crossed, one of these days, man.
One of
One
these
of these.
days.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
yeah, absolutely would be.
I'd be game for going.
What'd you think about his? Have you ever seen his Masters of Horror episode? Um, I think it was Jennifer.
No.
He did a Masters of Horror episode called Jennifer.
Okay, yeah. You know what? You know what? Honestly, I've seen that for sale too, and I've never picked it up. And yeah, I'm kicking myself for never picking that up. Actually,
It's actually really good, man.
is it? Well,
Yeah.
some of the Master of Horror films are actually pretty decent.
Oh
So
yeah.
I've got one with I got one called Dance of the Dead with Robert Englund, and that was actually a pretty fun film to watch. So yeah, I kind of like some of those Master of Horrors. I need to just start buying them.
Yeah, well, I got the whole first season, and yeah, Jennifer's a great one. It's really really good. Um,
Nice.
I mean, to say because I mean, of course, that's later on his career too, and I mean, of course, it was just like it's more like a you know, episode more than a movie. I mean, technically, it was not a feature length film, but it could, it's that gray area. So, I mean, I thought it was well done though, super super well done. One of my favorites from that series, from that first season. But I never talked to you about it to see if you ever watched it or not. So, yeah, dude, if you come across it, man, definitely pick that up.
Okay, I'll check into it.
Yeah, you wouldn't. I don't think you'd be disappointed. If you had to say, let's say after I want to say, let's say after opera, um, that's kind of that second phase in his career. What would be your favorite out of that phase? I guess what we call it.
What, after opera?
Yeah, after opera.
Um, I don't really know. I guess Stendhal syndrome would probably be.
I'm again, dude, right there with you. Stendhal would be my favorite.
Yeah, I mean that's, in my opinion, it was one of his last greats. I mean, besides opera.
Yeah, I
Uh,
love I love Sleepless too, but Stendhal,
you know,
man,
I can't definitively say that because I haven't seen Sleepless. I know I've seen Stendhal, so I would say Stendhal is. Yeah, but Sleepless, I don't have, and I haven't watched, so I can't definitively say that. But um, pretty much after opera, I would say the only things that I really watched is like right there. Again, I had high hopes for. Uh, does Mother of Tears falls into that category, right?
yes,
Correct.
yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. So obviously, Mother of Tears just I did not like that movie. I I just honestly I had high hopes for it going into it because it was the last of the trilogy and just like I
Yeah.
said, just didn't deliver. Um,
So it's so sad, man. So shameful. I mean,
it really
it was
is.
good stuff. There was some good stuff in it. I will admit, there's some good gore in it. I mean, there was some good scenes shot. I'm wow, surprised some of the shit that happened.
Huh?
But man, it really, like I said, it feels like maybe there was a lot of studio interference with that. And
Well, it's
I
just
don't.
like I said to me. It just as an audience perspective, it just really felt rushed. Like it genuinely felt rushed. I almost even felt like I was being rushed to watch the film. Stuff was
Yeah,
just happening so fast, and it's like this isn't an Argento film. Argento is supposed to be slow and
takes its time.
drawn out, and you're supposed to be guessing and thinking while watching this film, and I just didn't find myself doing any of that stuff at all. You
Yeah.
know.
Hmm.
Um, I will say that I had hopes. Like I said, when Suspiria got a remake, I was like, maybe somebody's remaking this trilogy. That would be phenomenal because maybe somebody would actually take their time with Mother of Tears and remake it to where it's supposed to be done right. you know.
Mhm.
And I hate saying that about an Argento film, you know. But at the end of the day, and I haven't seen the remake yet. I have it. I just haven't watched it yet. But I did see where he did have his hands a little bit into the film, so I did see that.
Well,
It
it took
said something. It said
it
something
basically,
about characters, so I don't know if he wrote what the characters were supposed to be about or something like that.
yeah.
Um, but it just said beside his name characters, so I don't know
What
what that means.
what that what that remake basically did was take the core, which all good remake. If you want to remake something well, this is what you do. You take the core story or the core structure of that first movie, and then you tweak it to your own. Like you make it your own. You don't
Make it your own. Yes, right.
exactly. You don't do a shot for shot remake or anything like that. You don't try to borrow too much from it. You kind of take its core narrative and then you
Yeah,
structure it or you add your own flair to it. And that's what basically the remake did. It took the core element or the core narrative and hey, these this coven of witches in a dance studio and you take it and you tweak that into a certain way. You add more story, and that's basically what he did. He added more story because let's face it, as well as good as Suspiria is, man, there wasn't too much story, which people complain about. It's especially with Argento, there's not a lot of you don't have a lot of story. There's not a lot of
mhm,
substance. Well, this remake took that and added a lot more substance. It added a lot more going. There was a lot more going on in that narrative. So you had different things happening. You had a lot more. I mean, Argento kind of brushes over in Suspiria, which I don't complain about. It's fine, but some people do. That there wasn't a lot of dancing or a lot of dance sequences in the original Suspiria. There wasn't a lot of like things that had to do with dance. I mean, he had a couple of shots here and there, but
mhm,
that wasn't really part of the whole narrative. But in the Suspiria remake, that is really a strong part of the narrative is the dancing in itself and the studio in itself and the instruction of these you know these not ballerinas but these dancers that
yeah.
they really took their time with that and fleshed that out and which was really cool. I appreciated that in the remake, but as
Well,
far as shots and color and cinematography, it's vastly different from the original Suspiria,
yeah. Well, and
which I think was an
to
interesting
your point,
stylistic.
Tony. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, which it was to me was a good stylistic choice because there's no way in hell you're ever going to replicate that cinematography. You're just not
No,
going to do it. It's never going to be done. So to take it and to mute it and to kind of do it the way they did it was I think it was a smart move. I think it was a good move.
yeah. Like I said, I'm really needing to watch that film, and maybe I can sit down at some point soon and watch it because
That's the
I
thing,
need
dude. You're
to.
going to have to dedicate a lot of time because it is a longer
It's
film.
like 2.5 hours long. It's
It's
ridiculously long.
not a short watch at all.
But and to your point though, I will say, you're right. You're right in a sense in Suspiria there isn't a whole lot of, but I don't think he really wanted to focus around the whole dance studio. He didn't want to take away from the storyline,
And
because
that's why honestly, dude, I don't complain about it. It's fine with
yeah,
me. Suspiria, the way it's done, the original Suspiria, is fine with me. I don't need all that story. I don't need. It's nice to get that from the remake, but it doesn't take anything away from the original film to me at all. And I know
yeah,
people complain about it, but to me, nothing. Me being a lover of Italian horror, I know how the narrative is. I know what goes on, so it doesn't affect me the same way it might some viewers that aren't used to that. So I'm comfortable with it. It's fine with me. I never complained about that at all. It does not take anything away from that film.
yeah. Well, I will say, and like you said though, as far as that, I think he delivers that in opera though. Because there's a lot more scenes where the main character she's singing opera and stuff like that. So you do get to see a lot more of that stuff in that film. But again, I don't think that he focuses on that, but I think it's there a lot more.
Well, yeah, he definitely he definitely kind of fleshes that out more in opera for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Maybe that was a subconscious decision on his part. I don't know. I'm not quite sure. That would be an interesting kind of thing to ask him if you were to ever meet him. I would love to ask him that question. Um,
yeah.
that's one to remember. But yeah, like you said, man, that's very true. He definitely stretches that out a little bit more in opera and kind of puts more focus on that, and
Hmm.
it serves it well. So that's why I think Argento is a really really smart director, because if maybe he got some of the criticism in that, and then he's like, okay, well, subconsciously maybe I'm going to do it a little different way with this movie because they're kind of I can't even say that word right. The artisticness, or I can't even say it, has a lot to do with both. Like it follows through with both films, and that's why maybe the narrative was a little bit centered on, the opera, the singing, the pageantry of all of it,
Hmm.
um, versus Suspiria, where it was really really focused on, you know, the witches and I mean that, like I said, it could be, it could not be. I don't know. I would love to ask him that. I would love to ask him about that. That would be really cool,
Definitely.
man. It's really really fun talking Argento, dude.
It is. Yeah.
It's so much fun. There's so much there's just, I don't know, there's so much, man. You can never do it complete justice, man, when you talk about this man's filmography.
Yeah.
Like I said, you have to do like full on reviews of each movie to really delve into the things that you know, that he sees. I mean, because there's like a lot of similar, like a lot of characters. A broken mirror is a very, very used motif in his films. It shows like a fractured mind, and it kind of
Mm.
plays into that. And I know he does that a lot in his films. You see that a lot in his movies. So that's another little tidbit that he focuses on. And then, man, there's just so much. There's just so much to talk about, dude. We almost did like a part two. I mean, it's crazy for him. Like you said, for him to only do what you say 26 films.
Yeah, technically, because he had, he had some films under his belt that, well, I not even because the two Sandman and then I guess Black Gloves,
They're
those
not
haven't come out yet. They are on
back.
IMDb though, so that's two right there away from 28, and then you've got Demons and Demons 2 that was also on his IMDb. So realistically, like 24 films under his belt
Crazy.
that he's actually directed. You know,
Absolutely crazy. Hmm.
and it feels like, when you think Argento, you think there's probably like 100 films under his belt.
Yeah.
You know,
It's just wild to think about, man, when you got a guy like Franco who's done 200 and something movies, and it's just like, what? Like it just blows your mind. Like Argento did 20s, like he did 20 something. That
yeah,
doesn't seem right. You know,
and that's
just
the
doesn't
bad
seem
thing.
right.
Like Franco, you're talking about Franco Nero, right?
No, just Franco.
Just Franco. Okay, yeah. Even like Just Franco, like you actually introduced that. Honestly, I think I have like maybe two of his films.
Dude, it's crazy because he's got like
And
200 something
yeah, and
films.
that's the thing. Like I don't know the name more so than Argento
Yeah,
or Fulci. You
yeah,
know.
absolutely, man. Well, I mean, Franco's a little different where he did a lot of schlocky like sex stuff and you
Sleazy.
know
Yeah.
yeah, sleazy, yeah, but I mean early in his career he did a lot of great like atmospheric horror. So I
Yeah.
mean when he first started out, I mean I don't want to get on a tangent or whatever, going off on, we could do a Jess Franco episode one of these days, but like I said, he the fact that he's got 200 and something credits to his name is fucking mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
It just it blows my mind, dude. And the fact that Argento, known as the master, you know, he's got 20, well, 24, 26, somewhere around. He's got significantly less, and the fact that his are just so much more prominent. It just speaks to his, like I said, the style and his staying power. It's just
Hmm.
he's a master for a reason, man. There's a reason they got him on the Masters of Horror. There's a reason he's known and loved by more recent filmmakers that they speak on his filmmaking is getting them pumped to want to be directors in their own right. Like
Hmm.
he's got that staying power in the genre. You know, when you think about the masters of horror, I mean, Argento pops up, no doubt. You know,
Yeah,
you think guys like, Craven, Carpenter, Argento comes up in there too, man. Fulci, these guys were the true masters, man. They made horror and they made it right. And
yeah,
kudos to him, man. I always give credit where credit's due with Argento.
yeah. I
I
agree.
just wish more mainstream people knew about his movies and he was, you know, I just I love my favorite thing to do is like having somebody that's not really familiar with Italian horror sit down and watch an Argento film. Like it's so
Hmm.
cool. So
Yeah.
cool.
Well, I think and I did that with Daniel whenever we were sitting down and we were first starting the podcast and everything. Him and I sat down and watched Tenebrae together, and he I mean, it was almost like mind blowing to him. He was just like, "Wow," it was eye opening. You know, and I love the fact that he picked out little subtle things in Tenebrae that I failed to even
Yeah.
notice. But I love the fact that he caught on relatively quick, actually, to who the actual killer was in the film and stuff. I thought that
That
was neat. He didn't understand how it fit in, which I mean, you get that feel that, well, he could potentially be the killer, and then you start second guessing. That's like that in a lot of Italian films. I'm not going to say all Italian films, but a lot of them you start second guessing. And I guess the one thing that I really love about Argento films ultimately is the murder mystery. I
yeah.
always loved watching murder mystery type films and even TV shows. Who's the killer? Gets you on the edge of your seat to watch and try and. It's almost like you're sitting there trying to solve the mystery as well,
Yeah,
and so
absolutely.
it's very interactive. I love that.
That's why we love Giallo so much, man. I mean,
Yeah,
that's essentially the Italian murder mystery. That's why I personally love Giallo so much. I mean, they get that for me. Like it's fun finding out, like doing your own detective work and finding out who the killer could be, and then seeing
yeah,
if you're right at the end. I mean, it's fun. It's you feel like a detective. You feel like like it's your job to figure it out. And as the
yeah,
audience, it is your job. Like you're supposed to do that. That's what keeps you engaged in the story, and that's why there's so much staying power in that genre. I mean, as old as it is now,
hmm,
it's still fun. I'll pop in Giallo and just I wonder if they could pick out who the killer is. Like I'm always on the hunt to see who it is, and just to see
yeah,
if I'm right. Just to get those little subtle hints of, hey, that didn't sound right. This guy could be. But then they throw those red herrings at you, like, oh, this guy clearly is not the killer because it's so obvious that he's not because they're
yeah,
pushing it to where he is. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
because
Uh,
the
and then,
trope
oh, wait a minute, he is.
exactly. So sometimes
Yeah.
they'll even subverted expectations. So it's fun, man. You get a little bit of everything with them. So it's so much rewatchability in that, you know. Because sometimes
Yeah.
I've seen so many giallos, I'll pop in one I've seen before, and I'm like, dude, I forgot who the killer was. I can't even remember just because I've seen so much, and I'm like,
Exactly.
yeah, you just so you're like watching it for the first time again, and
Yeah.
that's like rewatchability factor so high.
Yeah. And
So
and it goes back to there's just so many of those damn films that
there really is, man. And
yeah,
there's so many of them still that haven't been released on physical media yet, which is mind blowing to me. A lot of
yeah,
fans are like, I know Vinegar Syndrome just did a Forgotten Gialli box set, which is really fucking cool, man. It's got I think it's four films in there, and it's so cool. And then Severin did the Lindsay Carol Baker set, which is another fucking cool one. So I mean, they're getting some love from these companies. So who
yeah.
knows, man? We'll possibly get
Well,
some more.
88 put out a fuck ton of them, didn't they?
Hell yeah.
But,
Well, they had
yeah.
an Italian line, so
Yeah,
They did.
I wanna dig those up. I wanna start getting some of those. Even though they're region free or region two stuff, but
Yeah,
I still want to get a hold of them, and because there's a lot of them that I think came out there that was the first time that they got physical media.
there's so many, dude. And to your point, yeah, I need to get off my ass and actually get a region free player. I
Yeah.
just need to fucking do it. There's just so much good stuff out there. Region two, like, there's no
Well,
excuse not to at this point.
I don't know if it is the same for PS4 or PS5, but I know my PS3 is region free because
Man,
I've
I
watched
wish my
I've watched
PS4. Go ahead, bud.
I've watched region 2 stuff on my PS3, so I know for a fact that that is region free.
Okay. So this is the crazy thing. I don't know if I brought this up. I think me and you talked about it. But on my PS4, there's a region code locking, and I can unlock it, but it only gives me like I think five chances to do it to switch it back. So I did it once to watch a Region Two movie. Now I have four chances. No, actually I have three chances because it took another chance because I switched it back over to Region One. So I
Mm,
I can't. I don't want to do that anymore because I don't want my PlayStation region locked to where I can't switch it back.
yes, that's stupid as fuck.
Fucking weird, man. I don't know why they did it like that. It's bizarre to me.
Yeah,
They only give you a handful of chances to switch it over. I don't get that at all.
yeah, and I don't know about my Xbox. I don't know about that, but I'm gonna have to try my Xbox on it, see if it's coded to where I can watch Region Two stuff on it. Pretty
Yeah,
sure I can.
I just need to get off my ass and just get a region free player, just so I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Costs so fucking much.
It's not like they're too bad though, dude. I
Yeah,
did.
just do yourself a service and just go buy a used PS3 for like $100.
Yeah, but this
Not even. I
PS,
think you could find them for like 60 or $80 now.
and they play. Okay, all right. I could probably do that. I'd probably save me some money. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, yeah, that's the best route to go.
It's just weird that PS3 would play them and then PS4 wouldn't. I don't know if they lost something. And I don't know. It's fucking weird.
I don't know. I know I've tried it on because I did have a PS3, and then we're getting way off subject here, but
Mm,
but fuck it. But yeah, so I had a PS3, and then we started playing Grand Theft Auto, and I think we were playing like some modders, and I truly believe they fucked up that PS3, like because that's all we were doing was trying to get in and play with modders because it was fun as hell to play with them.
yeah.
Um, and then, like I said, I think my PS3 took a shit after that. Well, it went through three kids as well, so three kids beating the hell out of this thing on top of it. So, um, and then I ended up going and getting another one. Um, I think actually Kelsey went and picked it up. Um, but yeah, both of those have played Region Two though. So,
Uh, It's so fucking weird, man. I don't know.
and maybe I just got the two that fucking ran Region Two. Who
Yeah,
knows? I don't know, but
it's possible.
but yeah, man, you you ready to land this one?
Yeah, I definitely, man. I think I mean, we've done a spotlight on him. I mean, for sure. We talked about just about every film and talked about his beginnings. And yeah, I had a blast, dude. It was fun doing this.
Yeah, I
This
really
is one.
enjoyed the spotlight.
This is what I was definitely looking forward to.
Yeah, it was a good, solid episode 15.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
Yeah, I'm truly happy with it. So
Me
yeah,
too.
Deep Red. We need to do a review on Deep Red, dude. I think that would be fun.
Oh yeah, let's be a long discussion. There's so much going on in that movie, man.
You would just do a follow up and do that as episode 16.
I would fucking be down for that, absolutely, because I feel like watching Deep Red right now, honestly. Just
Yeah,
because
I could
talking
pop it in and
about
watch it right now.
just talking about it just got me into it and just wanting to watch it. So along with Tenebrae too, we already did an episode on Tenebrae, but still, just talking
Mm.
about that makes me want to. And then Inferno. Just his whole filmography. I just want to go through and watch them all.
To be honest with you, ever since we started talking about this and just talking about giallos in general, I kind of want to revisit a giallo that I haven't seen since you and I sat down to watch it. But it's a Case of a Scorpion Tail.
Oh, such a good movie.
I'm really thinking about sitting down and watching that shit soon because, like, I'm just like, I need to revisit that film.
Oh, such a good movie, man. Another Martino film. I mean, just fucking
Yeah,
brilliant. I mean,
yeah,
absolutely brilliant. Because like I said, Torso is one of my favorites, and I just,
oh
man,
yeah,
that
of
was
course,
right
yeah,
up. That one's right up there too. But yeah, I mean, doing this episode's got me on a kick where I'm probably going to be on a giallo kick for the next
yeah,
couple days. So there
yeah.
you go. So
A better
probably
way
by
to bring
next
in
episode,
October.
yeah, probably next episode, I'll be like, hey, what'd you watch this past week? Oh, I watched a couple giallos,
Which one? All of them.
all of them. Yeah, I mean, dude, yeah, it's definitely got me on a tangent to where I want to check out a couple I haven't seen in a long time. So
Yeah, same here. I think I'm gonna pop some in.
that's how it works, man.
Yeah.
I want to watch.
Um, so yeah, I'm
Uh,
I'm game if you are for Deep Red next week.
yeah, that works for me. I can. I'm 100% down for that.
Cool. Let's do it. Deep Red.
Let's do it. Pencil it in.
It's penciled.
Yeah, let's
All right.
do
I'm
this.
gonna go ahead and land this thing then.
Go ahead and land it, brother.
All right. Well, folks, you've been listening to the Midnight Monster Corner podcast. Like always, like, share, subscribe. Check us out on Facebook. Um, you can. It's a closed group. You just come in, ask if you can join, and we would love to have you join the discussion. Talk about horror films, post memes, whatever the hell you want to do in there. Um, and like always, if I get a film and it comes with a digital download, I'm posting it in there because I don't care to do that. I don't care to redeem those codes. So I give those options to you guys. So feel free to come in and just check things out. If not, come in just for the free downloads, whatever you want to do. Ultimately, we want to continue this and keep it going. So we want more and more participation. Just started up on TikTok. I haven't done any videos or anything yet, but I will be promoting the podcast on there soon. I think I got like over 200 followers now, so it's a work in progress, just getting stuff out there. So, but yeah, just keep us going, guys. Tony, you got anything to add to that?
Oh yeah, man. If anybody has seen, as if anybody's checked out some Argento films, like post in the comments your favorite ones and why, and let's get a discussion going. That would be really cool, man. I'd love to hear about everybody else's opinion and what they which Argento film they enjoy the most, and just to get some discussions going, get some feedback going. That would be awesome, dude.
Yeah, definitely. And definitely like what you said, just yeah, let us know. Let us know what your favorite Argento film is, and do you agree with what our favorites are and stuff? And just get a audience participation going.
No
We'd
doubt,
love to
man.
hear it. But yeah, guys, with that, later,
Later.
later.